Hey guys, interview with Anna Maglinti today. We're going to discuss where she's been, where she's at now, where she's headed, what kind of things she has going on in the future. Hope you guys enjoy it.
All right, Anna, it is great to see you. It's been a while, right? We haven't seen each other in a few months now. We talk quite a bit, but how are you?
I'm good. I've been awake already for like, I don't know, 7 hours. So I've had my workout in, two workouts in, about 2 cups of coffee, ran 3 errands already. So my
So
day is halfway over.
nice. Well, that kind of goes a little bit into what it seems like a lot of people that are entrepreneurs or even people that do things on their own. They have a morning routine. What's yours?
My morning routine is my alarm is set every day for 4 a.m. And I have a routine of my pre-workout is ready and pre-mixed in a shaker next to my bedside. Workout clothes are folded and at the end of the bed. Alarm goes off at 4, slam the pre-workout, put the workout clothes on, go straight to the gym. And then that for an hour. And then I come home, eat, get ready for the day, go to work, and then come home.
You set daily goals?
Um, I set daily goals depending on if it's outside of my routine. So typically my routine is gym, work, sometimes gym again, sometimes consult calls with my other business, and then child. And then, so if I have to incorporate another item or situation or, meeting or things like that, then most of my daily goals are based on time management. Like, I need to do this today. It's not necessarily in my normal daily routine. So how do I fix it? How do I fit it in? How
Right.
do I manage that into my routine when I have such limited hours in the day? So, but daily goals is just really making sure I get in my training first and foremost, and then making sure my meals are prepped. And that's literally, as long as that's set for the day, the rest of the day is cake for me.
All right, so I know people are going to wonder what are you training for? Why are you having meals prepped, and well, what are you looking at in the next month or so?
So I am training for my next bodybuilding show, which is in, I want to say 8 weeks, 7.5, 8 weeks, something like that. So I was slated to compete last year, but as we know, 2020 was can I cuss?
You can cuss, yeah.
Shit show. So that kind of wiped that out. And so now that 2021 is well underway, I'm competing in the beginning of March. So thus the 4 a.m. fasted cardio and the
Yeah.
six mini meals a day. Yeah.
I need to be on mini meals.
I just want regular meals. That's it. That's just.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. I shouldn't be complaining about the meals I eat right now.
Yeah, I just want to not measure my food. And it's funny, I always say that because I love competing and I love the process of competing. I love the discipline. I love the structure of competing. Yes, I love winning and I love being on stage, but I love what comes before that. I think people don't really see that portion of the preparation that goes into the show. They just see us all glammed up and we're pretty
Right.
and all that kind of stuff, but they don't really see what the 20 weeks, 22 weeks beforehand that we kind of prepare to going into this type of show. So that's really like my focus, is just to make sure that I'm really getting all of that in and not steering away from that, because I think people will tend to like, oh, I'm too tired, I'll go to the gym later, or I didn't fix my
Been there.
meal. Yeah.
Been there.
Yes, trust me, there have been plenty of times where my alarm goes off at 4. I'm like, do I really need to go at 4? Could I go like at 5 maybe and just do a quick one? So nobody loves waking up at 4 in the morning, but if you have a goal to compete, or you have a goal to read something, you have to figure out how you're going to fit in, right? So
Yeah, and I tell you how I fit those things in. there's no way in the world I can have my phone right next to me. My alarm, my phone is in the kitchen. So when it goes off, I have to get up and go over there and turn it off. Because if I put it next to me, I will literally and go
Yep.
right back down. So that's how it works for me. The only way I can make that happen is by getting up, because once I'm up, everything changes once I'm out of the bed. So I got to give it to you that you can actually just grab it and look at it and go, huh, okay, yeah, let's get up.
Yeah, well, I don't, and I don't have the luxury because, I'm in an office 8 hours a day,
Mhm.
and then I have
Yeah.
to take care of the child after. So if I don't get it out of the way first thing in the morning, I'm never going to get to it. So,
Does it sit in your head all day if you don't do it?
oh yes,
Yeah.
100%.
Isn't that crazy? I've told, Michelle, I both know Michelle, and I've told her multiple times, I'm like, if I don't do that in the morning, I think about it all day long.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's just one less thing you need to think about. So get it over with, get it done, and it just clears your head a little bit.
And it throws my day off because I'm so used to starting my day that way
Mhm.
that if I don't start my day that way, it's literally, I'm like, I don't know what day it is. I don't know what time it is. I don't know your
Yeah.
name. How did I get here? Like, I'm so lost in my life. It's just really strange that just that
Yeah.
one slight change to your routine just really messes you up. So
For sure. So you and I have talked a bunch about, you obviously you're doing bodybuilding. You are doing things on, entrepreneur type things. Was it always like that, or did something at some point change in your life where you're like, you know what, this is the direction I'm going to go?
it was definitely not like that. I mean, and it clearly, well, not clearly, but especially with fitness was not a part of my life until my mid 30s after I had Roman.
Mhm.
And, I'm a petite girl. I'm only 5 feet. So when you get pregnant with a 9-pound baby, you add on weight, and 5 pounds on my frame is noticeable. And so that's really what got me into fitness, and just I think getting in that mindset, because I've never been in that mindset. And not that I hadn't been goal oriented, or I mean, let's be real, like I'm Asian, like we have to be academically inclined, right? So
Mhm.
it
Oh
was
yeah.
all about academics. I had to go to school. I didn't I didn't have a curfew because I couldn't go anywhere. Like, my parents didn't let me go anywhere. Like, are you going to the library? No, you're not. Then you can't go. So so I wasn't always like that. And I think it just started with fitness, and then I had to kind of jump back into the workforce after
Mhm.
having Roman, because I stayed home with him for a couple of years. So that allowed me to jump back into the workforce, working from home. So just time managing, working again, and then taking care of a new baby, all that kind
Mhm.
of stuff. And then after several years of that, then my marriage ended, and I had to kind of be introduced to being a new independent person. Like,
Mhm.
okay, now it's just me. I don't
Yeah.
have the support of another person. Now I have to work 1, 2 jobs. How am I going to fit that in, kind of situation? So the kind of the goal setting and the independence and that mind frame was a gradual progression over the last 10, 11 years.
Mhm. So I mean,
Until
and that's it, yeah. No, it's funny because I think a lot of people don't believe that it's like that. Like, there's so many kids right now that are 19, 20 years old that seem like they have that mindset now. And you kind of sit there and go, where in the world did you get that? For you and myself, it was a gradual thing. Um, this is a story I'm going to tell real quick. So I met Anna. I met you at Starbucks. And Anna was working there. And one of the very first things that stuck out about you was your freaking memory.
Oh, yeah.
And it wasn't just me. It was like everybody that walked in the store, you knew exactly what they wanted before they got to the register. And one particular story stood out, and it was one of my best friends that I brought in, Les. You remember Les? And
Yeah.
I think it had been like 2 months since he and I had been in there. He'd been in there one time. And you and I were talking about something. I said, "Oh yeah, my friend Les." And you're like, "Oh yeah, he ordered blah 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 blah." And I was like, "How do you know that?" I go, "I don't even know what he ordered, but here you are 2, 3 months later, and you could remember that." I mean, do you have a photographic memory? Is that something that you have? Because I was dumbfounded by that one.
You know what's so funny is that's so many people that would come into the store and then interacted with me at Starbucks. That was literally always the same thing they would say to me, like, your memory is so crazy, like you know everything. But it's only applicable to like certain things, like in my real life, like, oh my gosh, I forgot to pay a bill. Like, oh my God, I forgot to get my child, right? But it's like, but those type of things when I'm at work or I'm in a position to where, you know, either my intellect or my memory or, you know, me as a person in a certain situation that is dependent on that, like, you know, me being at work, me understanding, you know, who my customers are, what they want, it allows me to be faster at my job because you know that store was busy AF all the
Yeah.
time. And, you know, if it wasn't like 20 million drinks on the bar, it was 90 million people, you know, standing at the register, you know, and then there's other people waiting and trying to, you know, talk to me. And then I have to manage the staff. So it was literally every second was time managed. So if I knew Jamie was coming in and he was getting his latte, okay, we'll just, you know, bang that out really quick. If I knew such and such is coming in and it's dark, okay, here you go. Now get out of my store. So
Yeah.
you know, I got things to do. But no, I think it's when I love something very much, or I know that I need to be good at this and that it's, you know, I might not love working at Starbucks, but that's my job, right? That was my job at the time. And I'm going to put in 110 effort at my job, regardless of if I love it or not. Did I love, you know, running around like a crazy person for 8 hours a day? No. But did I love the people that came into my store and then the relationships that I built with them? Absolutely. So me connecting with you as a person allowed me to remember those things. So me connecting with fitness or a job that I love or, you know, psych assessments or whatever it is, that allows me to remember everything because then it becomes an association, right? Yeah.
No, and I think so many people will, you know, look, I mean, the pandemic hit a lot of people hard. It hit us hard, you know, and there were certain things I'm willing to do anything. Had we not had a trip to Mexico planned for Thanksgiving, I was like so ready to just go work at Home Depot or something just because I wanted to. I would have met people and it would have just been a cool experience. So back to your Starbucks days, I think a lot of people are like, well, it was just a job. Who wants to work at Starbucks? How many doors did that open for you?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you and I've talked about it. It's just every time we turned around, there was something, right?
I got so many job offers, you know, people were like, I want you to work for me. I mean, that's how I got my position with Kevin, working with him for 3 years. Same thing, you know, they're like, we love the way that you are with people. We love the way that you interact. Like this not may be what you're meant to do, but you're good at whatever it is you're doing. And, you know, that drive and that enthusiasm, we know will carry, you know, into the next position you do. So it was just my approach to working is what stood out to everyone, you know, and my work ethic. I think I called in sick once in my 4 years of working for Starbucks. I think I went to work sick many times, probably half asleep also. But, you know, it was my job and I gave it all of my effort, regardless if it was something I was meant to do or not. That's where I was at that moment and I was going to give it my all.
It's almost like everything you're doing is an audition or an interview, right?
Because you really never know who you're going to interact with, right?
Exactly.
I mean, and you're familiar with that story. I mean, we would have athletes come in there, we would have, you know, celebrities come in there, things like that, you know, and business owners, you know, $1 million entrepreneurs, things like that. And you just don't know, right? Like I wouldn't know, they come in sweats. I don't know they're worth, you know, I know you get a tall dark. So that's all I know. But yeah, exactly. And just the networking, right? Like I wouldn't have met you and I wouldn't have met Kevin. I wouldn't have met, you know, whoever walked into my door that allowed me to use them as a network or build a relationship with them. So absolutely. Everything is an interview, I feel. Like you just have to, you know, just be the best human you can at that moment.
Yeah. I mean, Donnie and I talked about this when I interviewed him last, you know, 2 weeks ago and about him getting his call to the big leagues. And it was because he ran a pop fly out and made it to third base, and they dropped the ball on a windy day. And the GM happened to be there that day watching. He literally went from single A to the major leagues because that guy saw him do that. And I'm like, holy, you just never know who's watching you.
Nope. No, any moment could really be, you know, that a deciding factor and a change in direction in life. Literally any second.
Yeah, it is crazy. So where does the energy come from? Because you have a lot of it.
You know, I still don't know. I think, you know, I've always been a positive person, even in negative situations. I think we all have personal issues. We all have personal problems. We all have anxieties and stresses and, you know, depressive moments and things like that. But I always try and just be as happy as I can, even if shit could be, you know, just falling apart behind closed doors. If my outlook on it and my energy approach to it is the opposite, it almost just makes it okay, right? Like the answers will come to you, even though they're not with you at that moment. You know, like, let's just say, for example, you know, it's like, oh, I don't know how to pay my bills. You know, if I didn't have, you know, the financial income I did last year, right? Many people lost their jobs, they're living unemployment, things like that. You know, let's just say I was in that pool with those people. Gratefully, I wasn't, but you know, me living in this overthinking cloud doesn't get me anywhere. It just allows me to sit there and ruminate in my thought process and just create more stress for myself, but still not taking any action. Like, okay, what is me sitting here gonna do? Nothing. I'll, you know, let me have a moment. I'll cry about it. Great. But I still got to figure out how I'm going to make $1,200 this month to pay rent or whatever the case may be. So I've just always been an action oriented person. Like, okay, let's figure out what I need to do right now. And I try and create small scenarios for myself because it's easier for me to tackle those, whether it's, you know, small daily goals or, you know, me taking on, you know, now 2 jobs, right? Okay, how am I going to finagle all this in a 24-hour day? But you just make it work, because if you want it bad enough, you're going to figure out how to make it work, right?
Exactly.
You know, people are out there, I want that Mercedes Benz. So they're going to do whatever it takes to get that Mercedes Benz. They want this house in, you know, Paradise Valley. They're going to do whatever it takes to get that house in Paradise Valley. I mean, if you want it bad enough, you'll make it happen regardless of your circumstance.
And I think a lot of people just don't put it down what they want. What's your goal? I have no idea. You know, what do you want to do this year? I have no idea. And I think so many people, and I'm for some whatever reason, I am not a New Year's resolution person. I just think it's a complete and utter waste of time. People talk about, oh, well, I'm going to do this year. And I'm like, oh, really? How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Well, and I think because people fall into that, like it's just a thing you do, right? New Year's resolutions, New Year's coming around the corner. I gotta, you know, go to the gym more. I gotta, you know, write letters more. And those are all great, right? Like there are people who love resolutions, but 95% of the time, that's all they are. It's just a thought that you put into the universe because that's what people typically do. But then there's no action behind it.
No action behind it, right? Yeah.
You know, like, oh, I'm gonna write on a piece of paper and put it under my pillow. It's like, okay, that's great, but you still gotta like do something with that, right? It's not gonna, the tooth fairy isn't gonna be like, hey, let's get up now and start getting after these New Year's resolutions. Let's go to the gym, sweetheart. No, like you gotta still do those things.
Exactly. Everything okay?
I've been fine. Yeah, I mean, I think I didn't have any real struggles with it. You know, I mean, I was able to still stay afloat and not, you know, not really be affected by it like financially too much. I think it was more just a mental frustration with things being closed down and, you know, a lot of, I think, friendships changed over politics
For
and
sure.
their approach to the stress. Like there's so many friends that I have, or I mean, I still have them, but I think just my interaction with them changed because I just saw them in such a different light,
Mhm.
responding to the stress and anxiety of the pandemic. And not that it's not a real thing, right? Clearly it was stressful, but when I've known them to be such an hyper independent alpha type personality, to see them actually have to now be the alpha type personality and then they are not the alpha
Yeah.
type personality, I was like, what? Who are you right now?
What's happening? And I totally think that brought out a whole different way of thinking. You know, way it could have been. You know, again, I've talked about it. We are obviously the airline business went. So you know, it was more. It wasn't more about, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? It was, hey, what am I going to do now? And figure something out. You know, and we did. We just figured out what it was we were good at and said, okay, let's go this route.
Hmm.
You know, we made the leap and just did it. And I got to tell this story. I don't know why I think about it, but you know, even with the kids, I thought it was big for the kids to see that, all right, we're going to just make adjustments. You know, we'll figure out. You know, I don't want them to see us going, how are we going to pay rent this month? No, we're going to pay rent this month, and this is how we're going to pay rent this month, and we're going to figure it out. I just flipped a couch with them. So
Mm.
I got a couch for free, and I was like, brought it home, and and I was like, all right, let's clean it up. Clean it up, threw the cushion covers in the washer. I said, okay, we go sell it. You guys get 25%. Put it on online real quick, sold it in a day, and and they were like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
and then you know what they did? I said, okay, here's your money. What do you want to do with it? And they're like, well, can we invest it? And I was like, yes, we can.
See? Life skills.
Yeah.
And I think, and you know, and we did the same with Roman, right? Like Eddie's been really trying to incorporate a lot of kind of business skills with him
Mm,
because, you know, what I see, especially in these kids and young generations happening out, they have zero life skills.
hmm.
They don't know how to pay bills. They don't know how to manage money. They
Yep.
don't know how to look for a job. They don't know how to interview for a job, right? Because pretty much things have been handed to them.
Yep.
And, you know, if I always said, if I can drop my son off somewhere on a street, will he be able to figure out how to get home? And that's what we've always tried to incorporate. Like,
Yeah.
but you know, you got to figure out like, okay, we're here now. What are you going to do? Where are you going to go? How are you going to figure out how to get from A to B, things like that.
Yep.
And just life skills. You know, I was having this conversation with Roman, like, you know, he's coming to that age where, you know, he's going to be driving soon, and then he's going to be going to college. And I told him, you know, we're not going to just be, you know, paying 100% for everything. Like, you're going to have to learn responsibility. So
Hmm.
whether, you know, you start paying for your car insurance or your cell phone bill or whatever, you need to understand that how to manage money, that it just doesn't come from us. Like,
Right.
we, you know, we are not the bank. We
Hmm.
work for the money that we get to give to you. So now you got to understand how now you have to figure out how to manage that money for yourself. Like, if you have to pay $50 a month for your cell phone bill, how are you going to get $50 a month that is not your mom or dad?
Yep. And I tell you what, if you can teach them nowadays, they should be able to do that with no problem.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
so, I mean, I hate saying this because a lot of people are in bad shape, but if you can figure out how to make money today just by doing, I mean, doing what we're doing, getting on the computer, getting on your phone, it's just so much easier than it was. I just blew a bubble.
Oh, look at you. Harry.
I have way more skills than I thought I did.
Move over, Harry Potter. Jamie blows bubbles.
Well, I appreciate you coming and hanging out on a Saturday. It was great seeing you. We got to see each other a little bit more.
I
It's
know. Yeah.
yeah,
Well, we've always had great conversations. I think
yeah,
even, you know, you would just come into the store and I would be behind the register. We would just shoot the shit and talk about everything from like life to business to how
yeah,
can we, you know, do this venture. So it's always been, you know, super easy to just have these conversations with you.
yeah.
So
It's cool. And full disclosure, everyone, I'm married to a Filipino wife, so it also made that transition a little bit easier to understand, where Anna's coming from on a lot of things.
He's like, oh, I can identify with her. Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it. You have a great weekend,
Thank
and
you.
we'll chat soon.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time discussing things Anna has going on and what she's got coming in the future. She's a great person to be around. Appreciate you coming on, and we will talk to everybody soon.